They tell us that technology will save us. They're lying. Some of them tell us that it will bring on utopia, reducing us to the effective equivalent of a house cat. Others tell us that it will bring on dystopia, pick the Terminator or the Matrix. Both of these disordered visions have one thing in common, the obsolescence of man, and they're both wrong. Technology without purpose is a cargo cult. The cargo cults were the religions that spawned in Micronesia during World War II. The indigenous population witnessed these steel-bellied gods descend upon their islands bearing all sorts of gifts, Coca-Cola with cane sugar, radios, refrigerators that U.S. service members were bringing in planes. And of course, when the men and their mission were over, the cargo stopped coming. The natives were not happy with this, so they decided to do what the white men did when the planes were coming. They started wearing fatigues. They made fake weapons out of wood. They cleared airfields. They built fake control towers. They march around to this day in Micronesia, hoping that these ritual acts will bring the cargo back. It's easy to laugh at them, but actually when you look around, even in America, we are full of cargo cults. Guiltless institutions, soulless corporations, managers that conflate progress and process. The institutions we have, they're failing because the leaders are turning a steering wheel that is not connected to anything. It is a prop from the Jungle Cruise ride at Disneyland. The workers down below, they see that the ship is heading for the rocks. The captains continue to turn this wheel, mystified that nothing is happening. Perhaps worse, they actually don't care. And whether it's doors falling off planes or failing government services, this is why our culture and our politics are so bitter, so divisive, so pessimistic. People see the disconnect. They see that their leaders are play acting. And this breeds something worse than nihilism. At least with nihilism, you have enough energy to get up and burn something to the ground. It breeds managerialism. Our decline is documented in triplicate. There really are two types of people. There are founders who ask, how do we win? And there are managers who ask, what is the process? Our founding fathers built this great nations. Our managers gaslit us through its decline. When America was great, its corporations had its founders' names named after the founders. It was Jack Northrop and Leroy Grumman. It was the Lockheed brothers and Glenn Martin. It was the Henrys, Kaiser and Ford. They made prosperity and freedom. Chrysler made minivans and missiles. General Mills, the cereal company, made, of course, cereal and torpedoes. In 1989, when the Berlin Wall still stood, only 6% of spending on major weapon systems went to defense specialists, i.e. companies that only worked on defense. 94% of it went to these companies that were invested in both prosperity and freedom. We had not a defense industrial base, but an American industrial base. The American industrial base was invested in the prosperity of the American people. It properly understood the means and the end, that national security is simply a means to deliver on American prosperity, the ends. The defense industrial base, these are cost-plus crooks that are invested in the managerial class's prosperity, mistaking completely the means and the ends. Mario Draghi last year commented that in the last 50 years, Europe has created exactly 0 companies from scratch that are worth 100 billion euro or more. And America has created all of her $1 trillion companies from scratch in the last 50 years. Why? Founders. It is the founders' heretical optimism that propels civilization forward. The founders are not just heroes. They are heretics, the same sort of heretics who left the old world, not just because they were fleeing something rotten, but because they wanted to come and build something great. Bob Noyce, he was the co-founder of Intel, the co-inventor of the transistor, and he was an Iowan. He actually brought to Silicon Valley Midwestern culture. All of Silicon Valley is rooted in Midwestern sensibilities that came from Bob Noyce. A willingness to play positive-sum games, incredible integrity, a commitment to honesty. The very word open door policy is a Bob Noyceism. Culture makes people, and the American culture makes founders. And even our government, we had founders. Hyman Rickover built the nuclear navy. Bernard Shraver built the intercontinental ballistic missile. Billy Mitchell, perhaps the heretic of heretics, posthumously gave us the Air Force. It was the man on a mission. It was founders that chose good quests that pushed civilization forward. And all of them were heretics before they were celebrated as heroes. Embracing national purpose does not mean abandoning individual freedom. The opposite of adamatized individualism is not collectivism, it's heroism. Heroes don't lose themselves. They don't lose their individuality in the service of something greater. They themselves become more. If my children were to ask me, what missions are worth dedicating your life to? What purposes are worth dying for? I would offer them two. The first is solving the legitimacy crisis of our institutions, to make institutions of public trust and private enterprise work and accountable for the people that they are there to serve. And that itself starts with people. Who will put their neck on the line? Who will grab the real steering wheel, not the Disney prop? And that's what you see with President Trump, not just a founder himself, not just someone who's putting the country back into founder mode, but someone who is willing to ask the heretical question, but what if we tried to win? And second, I would encourage them to work on mobilization. This is about deterrence. For the last 50 years, the CCP has been playing Go while our elites have been playing checkers. The CCP smiled at us while they poisoned our children with fentanyl. They stole our technology and bought our universities. And of course, our elites didn't just fail to see this, they profited off of it. They were the useful idiots Lenin always dreamed of. And the godless authoritarian CCP seeks to snuff out the light that is America. The stakes could not be higher. They are no longer hiding their strength and biding their time. They seek domination, not peaceful coexistence. This is not principally a military fight, let us hope. It is a civilizational conflict. And to win that conflict, we have to wield our two greatest strengths, the American worker and AI. We need to reindustrialize with vigor. AI is already giving the American worker superpower. I reject the ivory tower doomerism that comes out of Silicon Valley telling us that you have to choose this false dichotomy between jobs and automation. When I spend time on the front lines, whether it's the ICU nurse in Tampa, the administrator in Upper Peninsula in Michigan, the industrial base manufacturer in the submarine maritime industrial base, every one of these workers is able to do more. Every one of these companies is able to hire more. The battery manufacturer in Reno, Nevada that's able to take casino workers and use them on exquisite high-end electric battery technology because of AI. The American worker is already the best. We have to make them also the most productive. And I don't mean something unambitious like 50% more productive. I mean something like 50 times more productive. A good job for life is what you tell the veal cow. I yearn for something completely different. To fight shoulder to shoulder with heretical optimists who are invested in national purpose. Because right now, right here, America is the underdog. And I say good, because all periods of American greatness started when we were the underdog. The rebels had no business taking on the redcoats. When we entered World War II, we only had the 17th largest army in the world. Well, now we're the underdogs again, against the CCP and our own corrupt institutions. Perfect, because that's where our hero's journey begins. This is where we remember who we are, the sons and daughters of heretics who built the impossible. The great contradiction of American conservatism is that it is born of revolution, yet rooted in the eternal nature of man and our mission. These founders remind us that innovation, from its Latin root, means to renew from within. Without founder mode, without a purpose worth dying for, technology is the problem. It is the sword at our necks. With heroes and heretics, with Americans who remember who we are, it is the sword at our hands. Thank you.